There is something quite fascinating about the way we construct our reality. We walk through life operating on certain fundamental assumptions, certain beliefs about the nature of things that seem so obvious, so self-evident, that we never think to question them. We assume that the way we see the world is the way the world actually is. But what if the things you believe to be most solid, your identity, your agency, your separation from the world, are not solid at all? When awakening occurs, when you truly see through the veil of conditioned perception, these assumptions reveal themselves to be precisely what they are: illusions. Now, it is important to understand that these aren't lies exactly. They are constructions, useful fictions that we have mistaken for absolute truth. Today we are going to explore the first fundamental misperceptions that dissolve when consciousness finally recognizes itself. And I say dissolve rather than are destroyed, because that is closer to what actually happens. The awakening process isn't a violent shattering. It is gentle. The illusions simply fade away, like mist in the morning sun, revealing what was always there beneath them. Let's begin with the most fundamental illusion of all, the one upon which all the others rest. This is the deep-seated belief that you are separate from everything else, that there is a you in here inside your skin and a world out there, and between these two there is a real boundary, a genuine division. Now, intellectually, most of us can understand that this isn't quite true. We know about ecology. We know about interconnection. We understand how everything affects everything else. We can talk about how the oxygen you are breathing right now was produced by trees. We can discuss how the heavy atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars. We can understand the concept of interdependence. But here is the crucial distinction. Understanding it conceptually is not the same as seeing through the illusion. What awakening reveals is not just that everything is interconnected, but that the division itself is fictitious. There is no separate you to be connected to everything else. The connection isn't a relationship between two things. It is an identity. You are the whole process, temporarily experiencing itself as a particular point of view. Think about it this way: your body doesn't stop at your skin. Right now, in this very second, you are exchanging molecules with the air around you with every breath you take. The food you ate yesterday is literally becoming you today. The boundary between inside and outside is completely arbitrary. We draw the line at the skin because that is convenient for social interaction, but we could just as easily draw the boundary at the edge of the solar system. After all, without the sun you wouldn't be here at all. You are as much a continuous process with the sun as you are with your own heart. When this illusion of separation dissolves, you don't gain some new mystical perception. Rather, you lose an old illusion. You see that what you took to be an isolated entity has always been a wave in an ocean, a note in a symphony, a word in a story. Consider the wave. The wave was never separate from the ocean. How could it be? It is made of ocean. It moves with the ocean. It is ocean temporarily expressing itself in this particular form. And when you see this, really see it not as a concept but as direct perception, your entire relationship with existence changes. You are no longer a stranger in the world. You are no longer defending a small territory against a hostile universe. You realize that you are the universe experiencing itself from this particular angle. The distinction between self and other begins to blur, not because you've achieved some elevated state, but because you've stopped believing in a division that was never really there. The second illusion follows naturally from the first. If you believe you are separate, then naturally you believe you have control, that you are the author of your actions, the master of your fate. This is what we call free will, and it is one of the most convincing illusions we maintain. Now, before you protest, I am not arguing for pure determinism. That would just be replacing one illusion with another rigid concept. What I am pointing at is more subtle. The question isn't whether you are free or determined. The question is, who is doing the choosing? Watch your own mind for a moment. Where do your thoughts come from? Did you decide what thought to think next, or did it simply arise out of the silence? You might say, well, I decided to listen to this video, so I must have some control. But did you decide to decide? Where did that decision come from? If you trace it back far enough, you find that decisions arise from conditions you didn't choose. Your genetics, your upbringing, your circumstances, the state of your neurotransmitters in this particular moment. The awakened person sees that what we call me is not the controller but the process itself. You are not in your body the way a driver is in a car. You are what your body is doing. The sense of being a separate controller, an ego sitting behind your eyes pulling the levers, is a construction, a useful fiction that evolution developed because organisms that believe they are in control try harder to survive. But here is the paradox. When the illusion of control dissolves, you don't become passive. You don't stop making decisions. You don't stop taking action. What changes is the sense of burden. The weight of responsibility for being the solitary author of everything falls away. Things still happen. Choices still get made. But there is no longer this separate you, carrying the entire universe on your shoulders. It is like this. Imagine you are watching a river flow. The river doesn't need to control its flowing. It doesn't worry about whether it is flowing correctly or making the right turns. It simply flows according to its nature and the conditions it encounters. When the illusion of control drops away, you realize you are like that river. You are not controlling your life. You are your life happening according to its nature. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to control everything, when you stop forcing and pushing and manipulating, things often flow more smoothly. Not because you have gained some magical power, but because you have stopped interfering with the natural intelligence of the process. You begin to move with the grain of reality rather than against it. And once you stop fighting the current of your own life, you inevitably run into the third great illusion, the illusion that binds us to anxiety and regret, the illusion of time. But that is where we will travel in the next part of this series. We left off with the image of the river, the realization that life flows according to its own nature, and that the control we think we possess is largely a story we tell ourselves. When you stop fighting the current, when you stop trying to force the river of your life to move upstream, you immediately encounter the third great barrier to freedom. It is perhaps the most pervasive illusion of all, the one that keeps modern humanity in a state of perpetual anxiety and low-level dissatisfaction. We are speaking, of course, about the illusion of time. This illusion is based on the idea that time is a rigid line stretching from a solidified past, through a fleeting present, into a real and attainable future. We are taught to view our lives as a progression along this line, always moving toward something better, toward completion, toward a final arrival. This is the mechanism that keeps you perpetually dissatisfied with the present moment. Think about how you live your days. You are always preparing, always working toward, always becoming. We tell ourselves the same story over and over. I'll be happy when I get the job. I'll be at peace when I find the relationship. I'll finally relax when I achieve that specific goal. We treat the present moment not as a place to live, but as a mere bridge to get to a better future. But consider the trap inherent in this thinking. When you finally arrive at that future point, when you get the promotion or buy the house, it is no longer the future. It is the present. And if you have spent your entire life training yourself to look forward, to be anywhere but here, you will not be able to enjoy the destination. You will immediately create a new future goal to chase. If you are not at home in the present moment, you will not be at home anywhere. The awakened person sees through this. They realize that time is not a line, but a dimension of the eternal now. Yes, there are sequences, events follow one another. But these are all occurring within this singular, spacious present moment. Look closely at your experience. The past exists certainly, but where does it exist? It exists only as memory, and memory is an experience you are having right now. The future exists, but only as anticipation or imagination, which is also an experience occurring right now. The only thing that is ever actually here, the only reality you have ever touched or will ever touch, is now. This doesn't mean you become incompetent. It doesn't mean you don't plan or remember. It means you recognize that planning and remembering are activities you are doing in the present. You realize you are not really going anywhere. You are always here, and here is always now. When this illusion drops, a tremendous weight lifts. You stop postponing your life. You stop waiting for the right conditions before you allow yourself to feel alive. You recognize that this is it. This breath, this room, this feeling, this moment exactly as it is the only moment you will ever have. You realize you are already at the destination because there is nowhere else to arrive. Once you settle into the now, you inevitably confront the fourth illusion, which is perhaps the most painful habit of the human mind, the illusion that things should be other than they are. This is the fundamental posture of resistance. It is the habit of arguing with reality. We spend enormous amounts of energy screaming silently at the universe, "This shouldn't have happened, I shouldn't feel this way, they shouldn't have done that, the world shouldn't be like this." Now, it is vital to make a distinction here. Awakening does not mean passivity or resignation. There is a profound difference between accepting what is and not taking action to change things. You can fully accept the fact that it is raining, you don't deny the rain, you don't hate the rain, while simultaneously deciding to build a shelter. The acceptance is of the fact, not a commitment to remain forever in the rain. The suffering comes not from the rain, but from your internal resistance to the rain. It comes from the gap between reality and your story of how reality ought to be. All of this resistance creates suffering because you are trying to fight with something that has already happened. When you awaken, you see the futility of this war. You realize that reality is always exactly as it is, and it couldn't be otherwise in this precise moment, given all the cosmic conditions that led to it. This doesn't mean you have to like everything. It means you start your action from a place of sanity, from acceptance of what is, rather than from the insanity of resistance. Imagine you are swimming in a river and you encounter a large rock. The sleeping person spends their energy being angry at the rock, hitting the rock, insisting that the river shouldn't have rocks in it. The awakened person simply acknowledges the rock is there and swims around it. Same situation, same river, but a completely different relationship to reality. This brings a tremendous freedom because you are no longer exhausting yourself in futile battles with facts. As you stop fighting reality, you begin to notice what was doing the fighting. This brings us to the fifth illusion, a tricky one because it is deeply embedded in our sense of identity, the illusion that you are your thoughts. We go through life believing we are the thinker. We believe that the voice in our head, that constant narrator criticizing, judging, and analyzing, is us. We believe our thoughts define who we are. But if you observe carefully, you will notice something strange. Thoughts appear in your awareness much like sounds appear in your ears. You don't create them through some act of will. They simply arise, exist for a moment, and pass away. Ask yourself this: if you were your thoughts, who is it that is aware of them? Who is the one observing the thinking? The awakened person recognizes that they are not the thoughts, but the space in which the thoughts arise. You are the awareness, the consciousness, the open presence within which thinking occurs. Think of your mind as the sky and your thoughts as clouds. The clouds pass through the sky, sometimes they are dark and stormy, sometimes they are light and fluffy. But the sky never becomes the clouds. The sky is not damaged by the storm. It simply allows the weather to pass through. When you see this, you gain a superpower. You are no longer tyrannized by your own mind. You realize you don't have to believe every thought that arises. You don't have to take your mental commentary as absolute truth. You can observe a neurotic thought, a fearful thought, or a judgmental thought, notice it and let it pass without getting caught up in it. This doesn't mean thinking stops. The brain is a tool and it will keep doing its job. But thinking is recognized for what it is: a tool, a process, something that happens, not something that you are. You stop being a slave to the narrator. You stop compulsively trying to figure everything out or mentally control your experience. And once you detach from the tyranny of the thinking mind, you are finally ready to address the nature of happiness itself. We spend our lives chasing it, hunting it down in the external world, only to find it slipping through our fingers like sand. In the final part of this series, we will explore the last three illusions. Illusions about happiness, meaning, and the nature of enlightenment itself. We have dismantled the illusion of the separate self, the trap of time, and the tyranny of the thinking mind. Now we must confront the engine that drives almost all human endeavor, the search for happiness. This brings us to the sixth illusion, the belief that happiness comes from external circumstances. We all know intellectually that money and fame don't buy happiness, yet we don't live as if we know it. We are perpetually chasing conditions. We believe that if we just get the right job, the right partner, the right amount of money, or the right living situation, then, and only then, will we be happy. We treat happiness as a prize waiting for us at the end of a maze. But when awakening happens, a radical shift occurs. You realize that happiness is not a feeling that is manufactured by circumstances. It is your natural state when you are not resisting what is. Think back to the moments when you were truly happy. Not excited, not entertained, but deeply at peace. Maybe you were watching a sunset, playing with a child, or completely absorbed in a creative task. In those moments, your external circumstances didn't necessarily change. What changed was that the wanting mind went quiet. You were simply present. Happiness is what remains when you stop disturbing yourself with craving and aversion. It has always been here, buried underneath the agitation of seeking. When you see this, you stop postponing your life. You stop saying, "I'll be happy when." You realize you can be at peace now, not because you have achieved some superhuman state, but because you have stopped doing the thing that was preventing peace. You have stopped fighting with reality. As the need to manipulate reality fades, you run headfirst into the seventh illusion, the belief that you know what things mean. We are constantly interpreting our lives. Something happens and immediately the mind says, "This is good," or "This is bad." Someone treats you a certain way and the mind says, "This means they don't like me." You fail at a task and the mind says, "This means I am a failure." We take these interpretations as facts, but they are not facts. They are stories. A rainy day is not bad. It is just water falling from the sky. Bad is the story you tell about it. When you awaken, you see that life doesn't come with built-in meaning. You are the one creating the meaning, then forgetting you did so and treating it as objective truth. This realization offers a profound freedom. It allows you to rest in not knowing. This isn't ignorance, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that reality is always richer, more complex, and more mysterious than any story your mind can tell about it. When you stop imposing your limited narrative on the world, you are free to experience the world as it actually is. Finally, we arrive at the last barrier, the one that trips up the spiritual seeker most of all. The eighth illusion is the belief that enlightenment is something special. We tend to think of awakening as an extraordinary event that turns you into a glowing, superhuman being, reserved only for the special few. But this very search for something extraordinary is exactly what hides the truth. It is like a wave searching for the ocean, never realizing it is the ocean. When this illusion dissolves, the search ends. Not because you have found something new, but because you see that you were never lost. The journey was imaginary. The destination was always right under your feet. Enlightenment is utterly ordinary. It is simply the falling away of the belief in separation. It isn't an addition to your life, it is a subtraction. You don't gain new knowledge, you lose your illusions. What remains is simple, immediate, and obvious. You are this moment. You are this awareness. The homecoming. You might say, "But I don't feel enlightened." Of course not. These illusions are deeply conditioned. They have been reinforced your entire life. But here is the secret. You don't need to dismantle them all at once. The illusions are interconnected like a house of cards. The illusion of separation supports the illusion of control, which supports the illusion of time. If you see through just one of them clearly, the rest begin to fade. So, do not treat this as a new project of self-improvement. Just look at your own experience. Question what you take for granted. Awakening isn't an escape from life, it is a fuller participation in it. It is not about becoming something else but realizing what you already are. The 8 illusions are not enemies to be fought, they are misunderstandings to be seen through. And when you finally see, you realize that you were never the limited self you imagined. You are the entire process. You are the whole dance. You are the infinite expressing itself as you. That recognition is freedom. It is not a destination but a homecoming. It is not an achievement but a remembering of what you have always been. Thank you for listening. Now go and see for yourself.